A group of researchers used a new artificial intelligence algorithm on data obtained from the Green Bank radio telescope. And artificial intelligence detected 8 signals that are potentially emitted by aliens. In other words, 8 potential technosignatures. Could artificial intelligence be the first to discover intelligent life in the universe? Let's dive into this whole story. All right, folks, let's get into today's video. Are we alone in the universe? But before we start this video, a quick disclaimer. When I mention life in this video, I mean intelligent, evolved life. Extraterrestrial beings capable of, for instance, radio wave transmissions. No, I'm not talking about microbial life or anything like that. So are we alone in the universe? When it comes to intelligent civilizations, this is perhaps one of the most frequently asked questions in human history and one of the most challenging to answer. Finding intelligent life in the universe, needless to say, is no easy task. Essentially, what you have to do is search the entire universe for any signals emitted by a civilization, a coherent signal that you can identify as having been sent by a society capable of radio communication. This story goes back to the 1960s with Frank Drake and all those folks attempting to address the Fermi paradox. Drake created an equation and was the director of the Green Bank radio telescope. At the time, scientists reached a conclusion and a convention that for a life form to be considered intelligent, it must master signal transmission or at least radio communication. That's the standard they established. This is something we can detect from Earth if such a civilization exists. I'm not referring to various theories about civilizations that might communicate through telepathy or other forms of communication. We are talking about what has been used as a convention that intelligent civilizations must excel at signal transmission, specifically radio waves. With this, they scour the sky using large radio telescopes, attempting to find any coherent signals. It's incredibly challenging. These signals that we detect, if we ever detect them, are referred to as technosignatures. This is distinct from biosignatures, which are signatures of gases in the atmospheres of planets. Technosignatures are signatures in radio waves emitted by a possible intelligent civilization. Of course, it's very difficult. As I mentioned, since the 1960s, researchers have been using large radio telescopes worldwide to search for these coherent signals. This project at the time was known as the SETI project. Actually, in the early days of the project, it was SETI with a C. Later it became SETI with an S, which stands for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Today, we have an even larger project that encompasses the SETI project, known as Breakthrough Listen, which utilizes the world's largest telescopes. As if all this weren't complicated enough, there's another major problem. Here on Earth, we use a lot of radio waves for communication, and these radio waves can interfere with the data. Even if these radio telescopes are located in a remote area, with what they call a radio quiet zone, where radio wave usage is prohibited, you can still detect some radio wave signals. You need to filter this out, remove this human interference, because sometimes you might detect a signal and think it's from an alien civilization when it's actually just someone making a phone call. So, you have to go through a process called data filtering. Now, who's going to filter this data? And there's the fear that while filtering, you might miss a potential alien contact. It's really quite complicated. The search for intelligent life in the universe is one of the prime examples today for the application of something you hear about all the time and may already be using, which is artificial intelligence. In other words, if I can teach a machine to recognize different signals, for example, this type of signal is a radio wave, this signal is a cell phone signal, this other signal is terrestrial, and so on. If I can convey the patterns of these signals to a machine, it can filter the vast amount of data I have while scanning the skies more accurately and efficiently. All right, with this in mind, a group of researchers decided to do just that. They developed a new machine learning algorithm, which is, in essence, teaching a machine to handle the data you have. Are you following me so far? So they created a new algorithm. The first thing they did was simulate different types of signals. What were these simulated signals for? Training. Not for us, but for them, they placed various types of signals and trained the machine. Very well. The lead researcher has an interesting story because he had this idea back in the 12th grade. So he had been thinking about this for a long time. The guy who came up with this idea is really smart. Now, the researchers used semi-supervised learning algorithms. There's a technicality about machine learning algorithms that I won't delve into right now. But essentially, it combines supervised techniques where you provide the machine with patterns to train the algorithm and uses unsupervised techniques as well. Why is this important? Because in unsupervised techniques, the machine can uncover hidden patterns in the data. Sometimes you may have given the machine a set of signals to train with, but you may have missed some. Unsupervised learning can solve that. So, the algorithm they used was a semi-unsupervised algorithm, combining the best of both worlds. And here's the thing, what did they achieve? By applying this new algorithm, the researchers managed to clean their data and discovered 8 radio signals that could be alien transmissions. These 8 signals came from 5 stars at distances ranging from 30 to 90 light-years from Earth. And here's a crucial point. They were signals that were overlooked in a previous study that didn't employ machine learning. How cool is that? The signals are notable for 2 reasons according to the researchers. The first reason is that they are present when you look at the star, but absent when you're not looking at the star. That's quite intriguing. The second reason is that the signals change in frequency over time, as if the source were moving away from us. This is another very important aspect. So here comes the big question. Does this mean we've discovered alien life? Well, the researchers say no, not yet. We can't definitively say we've found alien life. One of the things they're looking for now, and it's essential for confirmation, is what we call the repetition of the signal. So the signal needs to be repeated. For now, this signal has not been repeated. They detected the signals but didn't detect a repetition of these signals, so they're waiting for that. This article was published in the journal Nature Astronomy and demonstrates that artificial intelligence, machine learning techniques, are highly effective in dealing with what we currently call big data, which is a significant challenge in the modern world. There's an enormous amount of data to inspect and analyze, and only these techniques are capable of doing that. Another critical point, this amount of data will increase significantly shortly. Why? Because soon, radio telescopes like Meerkat, the Square Kilometre Array SK, and the next generation VLA will come into operation. In other words, this amount of data will be much larger in the future. Exploring the universe will be a constant endeavor for these large telescopes on the horizon. Testing these algorithms and seeing that they are truly functional and robust in handling this amount of data and this type of data is genuinely crucial. So, the question remains, will artificial intelligence be the one to discover if there's alien life in the universe? Will it take away the thrill from humans? But was it humans who discovered it because humans programmed it? Or is it possible, going full conspiracy mode, that the aliens themselves implanted this artificial intelligence here to be discovered at the right moment? Share your thoughts in the comments. Remember, the search for intelligent life in the universe is genuinely fascinating. The developments in this field are incredible, not just in terms of instruments, but also sensors and algorithms that can be applied to many aspects of our lives. That's why it's important. All right, folks, that's the video I wanted to bring to the channel for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget the YouTuber package, share, favorite, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Leave your comments with anything you want to know. Until next time.